The man accidentally scratched his finger when he was screwing. The blood that fell quickly passed through the wire net and rushed to the running water line below. Seeing this scene, the man's face turned pale for a moment and hurried to remind his companion to turn off the power. He hurried to the conveyor belt and carefully inspected the beverage bottle on the running water line. This is how he found the drop of blood. He put down his tense heart and hurried to take off his handkerchief and wipe the blood off. Then he bit open the strong glue and smeared it on the wound to prevent any more accidents. He thought he could continue to work because he was a man without a doubt. Unexpectedly, some of the blood still remained on the beverage bottle. With the reopened conveyor belt, he went to the canteen. After filling up the juice, this bottle of mixed blood drink was packed by the workers and transported from Brazil to the United States. After several customs duties, a cartoonist bought it from the supermarket. Unexpectedly, the old man just took a sip and his heart exploded. This news soon attracted the attention of General Ross. After the test, they found a lot of gamma radiation in the juice. So the general immediately ordered a special force to go to Brazil to arrest the owner of the blood, Dr. Bana. Through satellite positioning, they soon found the man's home. But when they broke in and fired anesthetic shots crazily at the bed, they found that the other party had long gone. It turned out that 8 years of escape had already made Bana nervous. As long as he noticed any wind or grass, he would run at the first time. With the familiar terrain, Bana soon threw the special force out of the street. But in the process of escaping, he was always watching his heart. Once the value exceeds the forecast, he must stop to calm down. Otherwise, he will lose his mind and become a monster driven by anger. However, it was not easy to get rid of the pursuit, but he accidentally ran into a group of gangsters. Although he was in a hurry to apologize, begging the other party to let him go, the gangsters still didn't forgive him. Since they chased him to the factory, Bana had to experience the fighting of the people of Brazil. He didn't know that once the man's heart rate reached 200, the gangsters in his body would take the lead. He didn't wait for the gangsters to continue the fight, so he was dragged back and thrown out. Then, the scary figure in the dark appeared suddenly and the rest of the gangsters ran away in panic. However, even if they ran so slowly, they still didn't escape. The special force that arrived immediately fired an anesthetic dart at the gangsters. Unexpectedly, the sharp needle could not penetrate the other party's skin at all, but completely annoyed this monster. Without a choice, the special force could only change to 10 bullets to drive Bana crazy. But even so, it still didn't work. Fortunately, the gangsters didn't intend to kill Bana. Otherwise, the whole special force would die here. Although they saw with their own eyes that the strength of the two sides was different, the leader who could win the fight still chased after the gangsters and aimed at them again. If he hadn't seen that the other party's patience had reached its limit, I'm afraid the leader would never have realized that the gangsters killed him like a dead ant. This mission made Bana run out of the sky and told General Dunchelin to give up. But the leader was very interested. He had no choice but to tell the truth. It turned out that the US military had already devised a super soldier plan during World War II. As an excellent physicist, Bana was soon recruited to a secret organization. But in an experiment, he exposed himself to the coverage of gamma rays. As a ray of green light flashed through Bana's brain, the cells in his body began to mutate. He instantly turned into a green giant and released an indescribable anger in the lab. In a state of out of control, not only did he injure his girlfriend and father-in-law, General Ross, but also nearly destroyed the entire base. In order not to hurt his beloved, Bana fled to a remote residential area in the Basque country. Here, he would practice the Basque technique and control his emotions. To prevent the beast in his body from taking the lead, Bana was trying to cure himself. He also met a scientist named Mr. Lon on the internet. But no matter what method he tried, it was a failure. Mr. Lon suggested that Bana should take the data and go to the United States to receive treatment in person. Otherwise, the blood sample sent by the other party may not be able to be successfully developed. Bana had been hesitating, but after being targeted by General Ross, he had to take the risk to sneak from Mexico to the United States and sneak into the lab at that time to copy his own data. Unexpectedly, all the data was taken away by General Ross. Even Bana was regarded as a private property of the military. No matter what, he had to take it back and continue his research. In order to make sure that the next action was safe, General Ross took out the super serum at that time. Stiff only injected one, and he became the captain of the United States. He fought with everyone. This time, they not only increased the dosage and injected it into Bronsky's body, but also firmly fixed it with a steel frame and added a needle and injected it directly into the man's body. The pain from the heart was transmitted from the back, but the man clenched his teeth and didn't say a word, because he knew this was the price he had to pay. It's a pity that Bana didn't know General Ross's plan at that time. After getting the lost data from his girlfriend, he was ready to set out again. Unexpectedly, before it was time to say goodbye to the general, he sent out an army to surround the surroundings. Inevitably, could only escape to the library and swallow the USB disk with the data. However, as soon as he ran out of the library, the soldiers attacked him from behind and trapped him in the corridor. The general ordered immediately to launch the tear gas to force Bana to return. Unexpectedly, with the roar of the roar, Hawker was once again on the top, quickly showing a huge body in the fog. After transforming into a green giant, Bana was exhausted. Even though the soldiers covered the wheels with firepower, it was still useless to knock down the plane. Instead, it completely pissed off this giant. As soon as Hawker raised his feet, he hit an armored vehicle with a huge firepower. Then he grabbed the body and vented his anger. In an instant, the armored vehicle on the human side was destroyed by him. The general rushed to send out the transformed leader to fight the enemy. The long-awaited Bana did not hesitate at all. He immediately fired tear gas to launch a fierce attack on Hacker. After emptying the magazine, Bana instantly jumped up and stood on the high ground to continue fire suppression. Although this did not cause any harm, the man's flexible figure still gave the general some hope. So he immediately ordered the commander Bronsky to lead Hacker to the designated area. With two powerful sound waves, they actually temporarily controlled each other. The girl was so anxious that she asked her father not to hurt Hacker, but the general couldn't hear a single shot. The girl's painful voice soon spread to Bana. Her anger was filled again and she endured the great pain to pick up the shield on the ground. As soon as she stood up, she threw out the iron block in her hand and cut the armored vehicle in half. Then, for a month, she directly stepped on another armored vehicle. It was obvious that the ground troops had been wiped out. Bronsky, who had injected himself with Mighty Eye's blood, still wanted to provoke, but he didn't dare to irritate the devil. Is that where you go? With Bronsky's fractured body, the general could only order everyone to retreat to a safe area and prepare to launch the armed helicopter to cover Hacker with firepower. Unexpectedly, the girl wanted to wake up the other party's mind before doing this. At the critical moment, Hacker hurriedly used his huge body to block the dense bullets. Then he quickly threw out the shield and shot down the armed helicopter and saved the girl's life in a fierce battle. The old man, who looked stubborn, disappeared with his girlfriend in the thick smoke. After the doctor diagnosed that Bronsky, who was kicked by Hacker, had fractured his whole body. Except for that strong heart, he was still shaking. I'm afraid there is no possibility of standing up in this life. However, when the general was about to give up on the other party, he was surprised to find that Bronsky's body had recovered as before. How do you feel? Pissed off. I'm ready for round 3. In order to make Bronsky stronger, the general again increased the dosage and injected him with super blood. Unexpectedly, the leader's body changed. There were also horrible bones behind. At the same time, with the help of his girlfriend, Bronsky finally found the mysterious Mr. Blue. Through the blood sample sent by the man before, he had actually studied the serum to treat the other party. But before injecting the antidote, he had to force the Hacker in Bronsky's body out. The method is very simple. It is to use an electric therapy similar to the one used to remove the net shadow. Oh my god, the intense pain instantly awakened the green spirit hidden in the man's body. Mr. Blue was in a hurry to turn around and prepare to inject the antidote. But Bronsky's girlfriend said that the other party had not yet transformed. Until the man's body exploded, his brain began to glow green. He then reminded Dr. Blue to quickly inject the serum. However, the Hacker at this time had already gained control of his body. The whole person became extremely angry and tried to untie the shackles. Inevitably, his girlfriend could only jump on him to comfort him. This is how Mr. Blue successfully injected the antidote into Bronsky's body. Under the effect of the drug, the man's body began to recover. Gradually, for the time being, he became a normal person. However, in order to completely cure the disease caused by gamma radiation, Mr. Blue still needs to do a lot of research. For this purpose, he has already concentrated the blood sample sent by Bronsky to reproduce. Imagining that gamma technology, which is used to treat all kinds of diseases, will win the Nobel Prize. Bronsky did not expect the other party to be so crazy. He asked Mr. Blue to destroy all these samples, because once it falls into the hands of the military, the consequences are unimaginable. Unexpectedly, when the two sides were in a dispute, the ambushed snipers suddenly aimed at Bronsky's anesthetic.